Well, I may not be wearing pink, but here we are. Let's talk about this Mean Girls musical remake. This is, of course, modeled after the classic cult favorite from 2004, 20 years after its initial release. I just realized that. And this movie is modeled after the Broadway musical, which was based off of that original movie that so many people loved. It became basically a gigantic following, and it almost became part of the culture back in '04. And if you've seen the original movie, if you've seen the Broadway play, this movie pretty much, you know what to expect. You follow a new student named Katie Heron, played here by Angourie, and she gets welcomed into the top of the social food chain by an elite group of popular girls. They're known as the Plastics, and they're ruled by the conniving Queen Bee Regina George, played here by Reneé Rapp, just like she did on the Broadway stage. But when Katie makes the major misstep of falling for Regina's ex-boyfriend, she soon finds herself caught in their crosshairs. And, you know, it's a bunch of high school drama, and back then, life was just super random and unfair, so pandemonium ensues. 2 Broadway references for the price of 1. You're welcome. But joking aside, I saw this trailer, and this is coming from someone who was only about 7, 8 years old when Mean Girls initially was released in theaters. So yeah, obviously I didn't go to the theaters to see it when it initially came out. I don't think I saw Mean Girls for the first time until maybe high school, college tops. And after finishing it, I thought it was really damn fun. And I can certainly see why it gained such a huge following and such a gigantic fan base. Because this was a late showing that I went to last night, and the theater was packed. And I'll tell you what, everybody was laughing, everybody was having a great time. You didn't have people in this theater who were disappointed and groaning at the fact that this was a musical, because I'm sure they must have seen the trailer, so they should have expected musical. But let's face it, number one, if you don't like musicals, just don't go see this movie, because you're probably going to be really annoyed. I myself, who's been doing musical theater for the better part of 15 years now, yeah, I was definitely curious to see this. But I don't want to say I was chomping at the bit to see it. The trailers really didn't do a damn thing for me. But me, yeah, this movie was so much more fun than I ever could have imagined. Not a perfect movie by any stretch, though. And I think what it all boils down to is just how charming and energetic this cast is. And let's go down the line. You have Angourie as your lead, taking after Lindsay Lohan in 2004. And I've loved Angourie for a long time. I thought she was great as Ryan Gosling's daughter in The Nice Guys. A lot of casual moviegoers will remember her from Spider-Man in the MCU. And I think she's definitely pretty good as Katie Heron. I don't want to say that she's fantastic or the standout, though. And you gotta have that straight person to kind of play off all this mayhem that's going on in the hallways. You definitely feel sympathy for Katie in here, and Angourie is definitely very good. Singing voice, it's not as great as I would have liked, but she definitely did her damnedest. Reneé Rapp definitely is a standout. There is one solo that she has towards the halfway point, maybe a little bit after that, and you are just so into everything she's doing. And again, Rachel McAdams' performance from 2004 is iconic, so those are huge shoes to fill. And I think Reneé Rapp does a wonderful job filling those shoes. Speaking of actors from the original film, you have Tina Fey, who also wrote the script, of course. She's reprising the math teacher that she played in the original, and she's very likable. You have Tim Meadows reprising his role as the high school principal, and he is solid. I really don't have too much issues with the performance aspect of things. Yeah, for a good chunk of the first half, and I haven't seen Mean Girls in a long time, but yeah, I don't remember the Plastics being as one-dimensional as they were for a good chunk of this thing. But that's more so on the writing. Acting-wise, the big show stealers for me were Jaquel Spivey and Auli'i Cravalho. The latter you will remember as the voice of Moana. Oh my god, she has grown to be quite the talent, and quite the charming talent. And I feel like when your first feature film role has you hanging around one of the most charming people in Hollywood in The Rock, yeah, a lot of that charm is probably going to rub off on you. And man, she was definitely the most charming and well-rounded character, I think, of the entire bunch. And her chemistry with her friend Damian Jaquel Spivey, who had me in stitches. God, they were wonderful. I just wanted the whole movie to be about them. So yeah, in terms of the movie's biggest strength, it's the cast here. The musical numbers, obviously, there's going to be a good chunk of them from the Broadway musical. There are 2 new numbers in here. And to my understanding, they did cut a lot out, which, honestly, that doesn't surprise me. The movie's only an hour, 50 minutes or something like that. Broadway musicals typically run 2.5 hours, so I mean, I don't know, like, the movie kind of would have overstayed its welcome if it went any longer than this. But I feel like, technically speaking, this movie, I mean, it looks good. I feel like a lot of the direction and the camera work, like, there's a couple of numbers, a couple of solo numbers in particular, where they just use a tracking shot. That is so freaking dope. But the direction, I feel like, can be very inconsistent at times. Because once you get to those gigantic group numbers, they just look like something fresh out of Glee. And not to say that Glee is a bad show at all, but Glee, to my memory, always used so many jump cuts between gigantic choreography sequences that it just kind of became, like, nauseating. I don't know if that's the right word. Dizzying, that's better. This movie definitely employs a lot of those technical Glee-isms, and I don't know. Some of the technical choices in this movie kind of bug me the more I think about it. Like the costume design, for example. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about this. The movie is supposed to be set in God's year 2024, right? They're modernizing Mean Girls. Everybody's got iPhones, so you can certainly tell, yes, this is set after 2004. But a lot of these costumes were very confusing choices because even though you're modernizing it towards the 2020s, what these people are wearing look like it comes from 2004. And I'm just curious to see what the mindset was in making some of those costume choices. And my god, you also have big-named actors like Jon Hamm in this in an absolutely nothing role. Like, the trailer promotes him as this big comic relief, as this sex education teacher. He gets one, maybe two scenes. I don't know what his schedule was looking like around the time of filming this. But god, talk about underutilizing a great talent like Jon Hamm. So yeah, even though there's part of me that kind of wanted a little bit more out of this Mean Girls version, I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a lot better. It definitely exceeded my expectations going in. I think your cast is definitely bringing so much enthusiasm to this material. It's great to see that Tina Fey is still involved in this to make sure that her baby is not ruined by somebody else. And yeah, I think if you enjoy Mean Girls, if you enjoy that original movie, if you like Broadway musicals, you should go and see this. I think it's one of the more fun January releases that you're going to get. I'm going to give Mean Girls a B. Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying that either, guys. But let me know what you thought of Mean Girls down in the comments. Have you ever seen the stage version? Did you go watch it on Broadway? And what are your memories with the original Mean Girls? What are some of your favorite jokes? What are some of the most quotable lines for you? There's a lot that we can discuss over here and then some. All things fetch, yeah. I said it. Yeah, I had to. It's a Mean Girls video. I had to use the word fetch somewhere. But do consider subscribing if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up. That would be a big help, guys. If you love talking movies, if you love talking all things in entertainment, this is a great community. You guys have come to the right place. Guys, y'all are the best. Look out for more videos very soon. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.